For that, we head here, Key West. It's the most well-known of the Florida Keys, situated on the island chain at the southernmost point of the United States. That means warm weather in the late fall, perfect for this event, the 34th Superboat International World Championships. The event is held annually in early November. It's the most prestigious event in the world's biggest and fastest offshore racing series. Spectacular-looking machines, the best drivers in the world, and some of the fastest boats ever to race across the water. Hang on tight, because we're gonna get the full experience on board these massive water rockets. Coming up, let's get airborne in a superboat. We'll experience the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat as we witness an intense on-the-water rescue mission. Then, we go from battling the wind to harnessing it. This is the coolest places on Earth. Back to Key West. Superboat International is the only official national and international sanctioning body for offshore powerboating in the world. In other words, this is the real deal. Founded by John Carbonell in 1989, Superboat International events take place all around the United States. About 20 million race fans attend Superboat International races each year. The rectangular race courses are usually about 6 miles in length. And the speeds? Up to 200 miles per hour. So we get why they're super, because they're super fast. One of the coolest things about this kind of boat race is the start. Unlike other kinds of races, there's plenty of open space. So the drivers and their behemoth boats can spread out on the starting line, giving each other plenty of room for now. Like many auto races, it's a moving start, meaning the drivers start by following a pace boat, just like a pace car in NASCAR, F1, or IndyCar racing. The boats quickly reach speeds of 60 miles per hour behind the pace boat, but once they hit that first marker and the pace boat peels off, it's a thunderous roar from a symphony of several 6,000 horsepower engines. These catamaran twin-hull constructed boats are all trying to break out of the pack and be the first to turn one. It's a rectangular course marked with floating buoys. The first turn can be a bit challenging. You want to keep that speed up, but the water can be unforgiving, with unexpected waves and wind, bouncing and twisting your boat in all directions. Plus, by the time the first turn comes around, the space between the boats begins to dwindle. All of that makes you feel like you're just inches away from disaster. If you ask any of these drivers, that's what it's all about. The weather variables, the competition. It's what makes it fun, and one of the most exhilarating boat races on Earth. When you see crazy fast boats like in this race, you'll notice how often it seems like only their engine propeller is in the water. If that, that's on purpose. The less boat on the water, the less friction and drag the engine has to compete with. Drivers will trim the angle of the engine to adjust the angle of the boat. If the driver trims up more, under high speeds, the bow of the boat will tilt up as well. If the driver trims down, the boat will flatten out. So it's a delicate, precise process to find the best trim for the conditions. The drivers want their boat's hull to stick up out of the water to reduce friction on the water, but not too much to create wind drag. Ideally, on flat water, the drivers want the boat to come out of the water as much as possible, but plane out flat at the same time. This is done by finding the right combination of trim and throttle speed. A well-designed boat uses its aerodynamics and weight distribution combined with the skills of the driver to reach the proper position. However, as you may have noticed, the drivers are not dealing with flat water on day 3. In fact, when the drivers are within the harbor, they're bouncing off 2 to 3 foot chop. But once the drivers get out past turn 1 and beyond the wall of the harbor, they're dealing with 4 to 6 foot rollers. When you're going nearly 200 miles per hour in 4 to 6 foot chop, you're gonna catch some air. As we visit the F-16 style cockpits on these boats, check out how much of the jolting and bumping these drivers have to endure on a regular basis. This is no pleasure sunset cruise. These guys are tough. But when you take that second turn and head back into the wind, it takes more than toughness to survive. It takes pure skill and nerves of steel. The Steel Racing team of driver and owner Bob J.R. Noble and throttleman Mark Kowalski need to win Day 3 in order to win the championship. Anything less than a checkered flag victory, and their chances of an overall podium finish are slim to none. Mark Kowalski is putting the hammer down on that throttle, and Bob Noble is doing his best to control the boat in wild conditions, all while holding the first place position going into the dreaded second turn. The very first of these turns, back into the wind on Day 3, gave the drivers and the fans quite a scare. See how the boats are losing control as they fly out of the water? The waves are launching the boat into the air, and then the wind catches the bottom of the twin hull. So that's what the fans saw. Let's see what the Steel team experienced inside the cockpit. Check out how the land disappears underneath the bow of the boat. Yeah, that's not a good sign. If the drivers don't make key adjustments in their speed and trim coming around that turn in the remaining 8 laps, there's going to be trouble. The conditions on Day 3 were so intense, even the superboats themselves were vulnerable to the jolting. As J.R. Noble and Mark Kowalski hold on to the lead on lap 4 in the bumpy cross-section between turns 1 and 2, their entire season changes in a heartbeat. After a harsh landing, J.R. notices his steering is gone. See that big part dangling off the back of the boat? That's the drive shaft, and that's not good. Their race for the checkered flag is over, but a new race has just begun. The absence of the drive shaft in the rear right corner has left a gaping hole in the boat, and they're taking on water. The boat is sinking. Coming up, we'll see if the rescue team can battle the wind and waves to save the crew and the boat. Then, the neck-and-neck race to the finish line. Back to the sinking former leaders. The Superboat International Rescue Team gets out to their aid in a hurry. There are 3 things they need to accomplish, and fast. First is to check the safety and well-being of the crew. Next, they need to secure a towing cable and begin carefully but steadily moving the boat off the course and back into the harbor. They also need to hook up a pump to begin extracting the water from the boat in order to prevent more damage, and to prevent the boat from sinking while being towed. Despite an expensive way to end the race for the Steel team, the boat was saved thanks to the fast-acting Superboat International rescuers. As for the race, it was neck and neck between Broadco and WHM pretty much from lap 5 through 9. However, in the middle of the final 9th lap, WHM blows an engine. The rough waters once again take out a potential champion. Broadco keeps her steady through the checkered flag, taking first place in the final race and the overall championship. Driver Chuck Broadus and throttleman Grant Brugman are victorious in Key West. The 35th annual Superboat International Key West World Championship takes place November 8th through the 15th. I know we'll be watching.